Good morning. Today is the day before the race, and I'm going to probably make it a single video about like the whole preparation for the race and the race day, because I'm not going to be filming the race itself because I'm going to be racing, but I'm going to be sharing some of the experience of my first and only triathlon race of this year, which would be half distance triathlon in Gandia. So yeah, I have about maybe half an hour to actually pack all the stuff, but finally I can say that my bike is ready. I was expecting a couple of packages. One delivery was supposed to be from Decathlon with like the bike rack to actually fit on the car. I didn't get that one. So what I did get though is like everything else. So my bike is ready, but I cannot put it on the car. But also the car that we were supposed to take, that one actually broke down. So we ended up taking another one that should fit the bike inside, like without the wheels. We're taking like an old van. And this is the bike. So from what I had on this bike previously, basically I had the aero bars. I now have like a mount behind the seat that will hold the bottles, and I will probably put the bag into like one of the bottle holders. And I have the race wheels. These are the 15mm synchros carbon wheels. I put on the Gelfer disc brakes, disc brake rotors, which I think look amazing, and they're quite light, and basically their reviews on them are very nice. I have a Shimano 105 11 to 34 cassette, so it's not relevant for this race, but it will make the overall riding experience much better on this bike. So yeah, it ends up being quite heavy, but it doesn't really matter for this race. I'm going to be riding a very flat course, but basically this is the machine, and I'm going to pack and we're gonna drive to the race venue today. So I want to share the amazing car that we're driving. So this is the trunk, and the bike, basically full bike fits perfectly inside, and you can put like a suitcase in here as well. Like it literally, it's quite empty. So I'm gonna put like a backpack in here, a suitcase in here, or yeah, just like a huge trunk. Amazing. Like this is 4.5 stars out of 5 for this car. Half a star for being old. And I actually had a little bit of adventure yesterday, because when we got the car, we also went for some shopping, just because it's much easier with the car. So we went for shopping, and this morning I actually had to go exchange some stuff. But the amazing thing that I found was like in the Adidas store. In the Adidas store, they had this, I don't know, like a shelf where you have like the last sizes of shoes, and I found this thing, which is the Adios Pro 3. It's like 115 euros. So I got myself like that was the last size, and it was my size. So I haven't thought about it. I just got it, and now I have like the top of the top of like the shoe industry. I'm not gonna race in it. I'm going to maybe run a couple of workouts in them, try them out, and maybe run a half marathon with them. But for now, I'm gonna race with my existing shoes, and I'll try to keep all the equipment the way I sort of planned it. And so in terms of the nutrition for the race, basically I finally have my Beta Fuels. I'm gonna have 2 of them. I'm gonna take the caffeine boost shot, and I have these 40 gram of carbs gels, which I will probably have 1 for the run and maybe 1 or 2 for the bike. I'm not sure. So I'm gonna try to go for, like, if it's 2 hours, if I take 2 SIS drink mixes and 1 gel, that's gonna be 200 grams of carbs. Pretty nice. And then maybe 1 for the run, and I'm gonna drink a lot of Coke with sugar to replenish also the sugar, the carbs from there. So we're in Gandia. I signed up for the race, I listened to the briefing, and now I'm on my way to actually put my bike into the transition area. I haven't done this in a year almost, so that is quite exciting. There's 1.3k people taking part, and there's 4 distances. The transition area is actually quite huge. I was thinking that maybe this would be a perfect place to park, because there is a port in here and there's like a huge parking space, but that is exactly where the transition would happen. So yeah, pretty excited. I am going to leave the bike with the cycling shoes and the helmet, but I think I'm gonna put the running gear and the food tomorrow, just so that nothing gets like wet or lost. And then the plan is to go and have a swim. They said that the wetsuits will likely be allowed, so yeah, I'm gonna just stretch it a little bit in the water. So my number is 9,259, which is like incredibly hard to remember, and we're gonna put our stuff in boxes, so yeah, I'm gonna need to pick one up. Okay, so it looks like the trick is to leave the box under the bike wheel. It's going to be a very windy night, so no one is actually leaving anything on the bikes, and they are even I saw a guy using like scotch tape to just tape the bike to the bar for the night. So what else? It's going to be a mass start from the water, which is pretty cool. I think that's it's very tough. It's usually very challenging, especially if there's like 100 people at the same time swimming and hitting each other. But I think this is like the most fun in the way, in terms of like what can you get in triathlons, like where you have to fight for a position on the swim, and then when you get on the bike, of course it's usually harder in terms of drafting, but yeah, but it's like it is like a real challenge compared to when you are getting to when you're getting like to rolling start thing. Yeah, so we'll have to see actually the most tomorrow, because I'm not leaving anything on the bike. I just left the bike with the shoes on, because it shouldn't rain, and if I forget the cycling shoes, that would be pretty bad. So it shouldn't rain, and there's going to be a lot of wind, so the cycling shoes will be dry pretty much. Like they should be dry. And I'm almost at the hotel, which is pretty exciting. So we're staying like maybe 200 meters from the transition area, and I managed to park with the car only like 300 meters from the hotel, so it's closer to get to the bike in the morning than anything else. So I did like a 300 meter swim, nothing special. Water gets much colder now after like the windy conditions, so I think wetsuits will be allowed tomorrow. And yeah, now time to eat and recover. Good morning. 7 a.m. The start is an hour and a half away. I just had breakfast at the hotel. So the hotel adjusts for us triathletes, and they started breakfast earlier than usual. And I'm going to put the race stuff in the transition area. So it's been open for like 15 minutes. Still an hour and a half to the start actually. So I'm just going to go and put my helmet, running shoes, glasses, running hat, and basically all of the nutrition on the bike. And yeah, it's gonna be ready. One thing I haven't thought about yesterday was that actually the sun comes up at around like 8 a.m. So it's going to be dark right before the start. And yeah, so it's still windy, actually, quite windy. I don't think that it will change anything about the bike like handling much, because it's not like super strong. But yeah, it is windy, it is chill. I think the race will be actually very fast, because it's not really hot, and I don't think it's going to be really hot today. Maybe just closer to the end of the run, but not too much. And yeah, and there are so many triathletes, like almost everyone awake right now is either racing or like some judges or technical officials. So yeah, a lot of people going to the transition area with a ton of bags. The unusual part for me, doing an energy drink. Last year I started trying to race on caffeine, and so today I had like a couple of coffees. Now I'm taking an energy drink, and I have a caffeine shot for like the mid bike, so I'm going to be full on that. And it's so nice to be like, the logistics is so cool. I'm just walking back to the hotel to go to the bathroom. I still have an hour before the start of the race, so I have plenty of time to just walk there and back. And yeah, so I'm done with the transition. I only need to put my bag into the storage there and change into my wetsuit, which is, yeah, everything's pretty straightforward from here on. And yeah, it's starting to get a little bit brighter, but still a long day ahead, especially for the long distance guys. So today there's 4 distances, like a sprint, an Olympic, the standard distance, the half, which I'm doing, and the full distance, which is like a full Ironman equivalent distance race. So the guys will be racing up until midnight tonight, and I'm planning to finish around maybe 1 p.m. and then wait for the bike to be able to get the bike from transition, and and then we'll go home today, because it's just like an hour and a half drive.
Там в этой кучке стоит поезд. Они сейчас будут прыгать вот туда вниз и потом плыть до линии старта. На линию старта нет возможности попасть. На траве! Вот кого он потерял.
And fast forward, it's Tuesday. The race was over. I'm riding in a cycling jersey from the triathlon team, or like from the race organizers. It was basically part of the starting pack, which is crazy because like for 200 euros for the slots you get also a lot of merch, including like a cycling jersey.
speaking of the race, it actually went pretty well. The race itself was a mass start out of the water. We jumped in. That was the scary part, because we needed to jump maybe like a couple of meters high from the port, and then maybe like 100 meters swim towards the starting line, and from there we actually waited like for the gun time start. So yeah, the swim was incredible. Like, I haven't seen such an atmosphere among the athletes. Like, in the mass start event, we were swimming in the group. Like, for the first half I was seeing like 130, 140 per 100 meters in terms of the pace, and we were swimming in a tight group, but no one was actually like hitting each other or pushing. We were just swimming very, very closely to each other. And yeah, so that one went very well. I got like pretty tired early on, so the last part was harder, because when we needed to get back into the port, so it was about almost a kilometer out and back, so swimming back was harder to just keep the line and understand where should we go. So the average pace was much slower. I finished the swim at a little below 36 minutes, which it's not an awesome time by any means, but it's good for me, because I know that if I'm swimming well in the pool, I'm complete shit in the open water, and I can do like even sometimes 39 minutes in a half distance swim. But this one was okay. I was really happy. I was like, if everything else fails, that is nice. So we jumped on the bike, and that was a 2-lap of 41k. And what happened was that the wind did not actually calm down, so it was very windy, and the first basically half of the loop, it was a headwind coming from the left, and then on the way back it was mostly tailwind, but also coming from the side. So it was a slower speed half of the lap, and yeah, catching up on the second part. And also the beginning of the loop was around like 3k that you need to get out of the center on like a pavement stone. It was very, very smooth, but still not perfect road. So yeah, the bike was very, very controlled, very, I would say, very solid effort. I did 221 watts average for 2 hours 20 minutes. One thing that I can count as a mistake in terms of nutrition, I took 2 bottles with beta fuel from SIS as I planned, and then I was counting on the aid station. But when you get out of the salty water, you actually want some just pure water. So I should have taken maybe the nutrition in one bigger bottle, and then one bottle with just regular water. So yeah, that felt not amazing, but okay. So I took like 160 grams of beta fuel plus another gel of 40 grams of carbs, and in the middle of the bike I took a caffeine shot. And then the first aid station was at kilometer 37, where I took a bottle of actually isotonic drink. So that was a mistake. I think it was the mistake of the volunteer, because she said that she had water and I picked the bottle. But before, they also told me that the last girl in the line had water, and I took the bottle from the one before. So maybe my mistake, but never mind. So I was drinking, I was riding. As soon as I finished the first bottle with my beta fuel, I put it actually under my tri-suit in the front, so like it's kind of a known fact these days that putting something on top of your chest makes you more aerodynamic, because it kind of moves the wind away from the moving legs. So yeah, I rode about an hour with that, but I would say it's actually not super comfortable, or at least the bottle that I had, because it started like scratching my chest a little bit. So yeah, so the bike overall was pretty solid, like 2 hours 20 minutes, around 35k an hour. I would say it was pretty good for a non-TT bike. So basically a road bike with endurance, very tall geometry, with clearance for up to 43mm tires. So now I still have the race wheels, but actually on Sunday I went for an easy ride, and I put a gravel wheel set on, and that went also like very well. But I got like a couple of needles from some of the plants from the roadside into the tire. So yeah, but anyway, like the bike was the bike went very well, and I would say that I didn't feel that the bike itself was slowing me down. I want to say it was mostly maybe me not being even better prepared, which I could potentially do. Like last year's, whenever my performance was really well, it was after me riding like 100k rides once in a while. This time I didn't really have the longer rides, but yeah, but it felt really strong. I'm happy. Like the speed was good, and it was so windy that maybe the wind also played its role. And then onto the run. It started actually with a problem that the race organizers, and I don't want to blame them. I mean, I think it's like the lack of my experience over the last year maybe. But basically they separated the distances in the transit area kind of during the race with fences. So although I did understand where my bike should go, I missed the row with my bikes, because the logistics around the transition area was different from what I expected it to be. So I missed a few seconds there. And also another point is that there was no carpet in my lane with my bike, so I kind of hit my feet a little bit too much on the hard tarmac. So when I put the shoes on, my heels would just ache a lot, and that was not very nice. So like for the first couple of kilometers my feet would actually just hurt from running, but that didn't feel critical. It was just annoying. So the start of the run went well. I started like 4:20, 4:30 per kilometer, and that was not too fast actually for my potential run. But I thought, like, there's 3 laps, and as far as I know myself, I should enjoy the first and the second lap, and then for the third one I can push harder. So I just went easier, but yeah, that turned out not to be too easy for myself. I had the gel at around kilometer 10, I think, and my stomach felt very strange throughout the run. Like early on it hurt a little bit, but it felt like it hurt because it's empty, like that I just need to maybe eat something and it would feel better. But after the gel it felt differently bad. It didn't feel very good. So yeah, and then after kilometer 13, 14, so closer to the end of the lap 2, I started cramping, and very weirdly in like something like in my shoulder. So it felt like some pain in the chest, but it felt like the muscles are cramping, and that it's happening like right in my shoulder somewhere. And then I got like some side stitches, and I just walked for a little bit to the aid station. I got some water, I got some isotonic drink. Then as soon as it felt a little better, maybe after 500 meters or so, I went back running. But yeah, basically I was losing time, and I was running heavier and slower. So my half marathon ended up being around like 1:41, which was roughly 10-11 minutes slower than I was hoping for. Like, I know that I can run a 1:30 half marathon on a good day after a bike. But anyway, that was a single race of the year. I didn't have racing experience and nutrition experience, and it felt like the running was never good enough this year. So I kind of just, yeah, I ended up just enjoying the whole race. And there's one other factor that I kind of tried to pay attention to, was that usually, or not usually, but more often than I would like to, in these half distance races, around kilometer 10 of the run, I have a thought like, okay, if that was an Olympic distance, my run would have been over by now. So why would I want to do these half distance races? And like, I would actually really struggle with simply motivation to run, and I wouldn't really stop, but it would feel a little bit weird that I don't really want to run, and that I would have enjoyed a shorter race. But this time this didn't happen. It was indeed very hard to run, but I never lacked like motivation. So maybe without racing this year, it felt kind of okay to suffer more. So I'm very interested to see how the run goes in a pure half marathon in 3 weeks. Now this week I'm just recovering. Next week I'm going to Madrid. But overall, I'm just going to do a little bit of specificity for the half marathon, and then there would be a pure running race to see where my running shape is. Yeah, and from there we'll build up the next year. So overall, I really enjoyed the race. It was much a bigger event than I thought. It's not just like some local unknown event. Like 1,300 people, that's a lot of people enjoying the race. And yeah, I would definitely recommend, and I would definitely enjoy doing this, because also for the family it was pretty nice, because everything but the bike actually happened around the area of start finish, and even the kids can enjoy some time with some proximity to the race and see the event happening. So yeah, I'm finishing my sort of semi-easy climb today, and then I'm gonna be going back to the town to go back home. So today doing around only like 35-37k, and not pushing too hard anywhere. So like the video, let me know in the comments like if you're racing now anything, and yeah, see you later.